Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Lyle Divinsky on his season's LP.
When I reached out to you, I really was curious and excited to talk about some of the things that you've been doing, I guess, since quarantine, within the last year. And I know obviously there's a lot to talk about from before that, but I'm just really fascinated with kind of what was flipped or the switch that kind of maybe seemed to kind of come around during that COVID era. Um, could you talk maybe a little bit of like what happened during that time and kind of where it's taken you since then?
Sure, sure. I mean, I think that as we all started to see the world shut down, we kind of flipped in. People approached it differently, but like a switch got flipped in different ways for people. I was very lucky that I was living in Lake Tahoe at the time, so I was in a very beautiful place. But I kind of saw what was happening pretty immediately and jumped on the live stream thing. And so I'm not saying I was the first, but like I was in the first wave of people jumping into that. And I'm lucky that I was able to, that I can play guitar and some keys and be able to be proficient enough to be able to provide the kind of the whole of a song just myself. And I fell back in love with songwriting. I fell back in love with folk music. I fell back in love uh, with just the art of a song, which is kind of where I started and how I really got into it. Um, and so the more that I dug deep on that, the more songs that I was learning, the styles of songs that I was gravitating towards were far away from the funk music that I had been playing with Motet and with bands before that, and the songs that I started writing were pretty far away from that. And so it was just kind of a full shift started to happen, and I kind of had to take a good solid look at that and figure out what I wanted to do with that information that was presenting itself to me, because I had a great job, I had a great gig. The thing that was driving me was with a guitar in my hand and in a very different kind of mode. And so that really ushered me in. It was, I mean, the COVID time, the full world shutdown time really just kind of put me into the shed with that, because I was playing different songs every week. So I mean, I learned over 500 songs in the first year and was just kind of like going back to school to a certain degree. And what came out was kind of the beginning era of what has now become the Seasons Project. And it was kind of like, because I had only written within a certain framework uh, of music and a certain genre of music, I like kind of just broke down all barriers and let whatever came out.
If we could kind of break down, because I've been trying to kind of figure out the timeline for seasons, the chapters, how that all came together, where we're at with releases for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, could you kind of take me through like how all that like chronologically came together?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so as as I was writing these songs, and as things were starting to kind of, the songs were revealing themselves, they felt scattered to a certain degree, but then as I kind of looked at them as a whole, they kind of divided up into four subsets. And the way I guess I kind of joke around about it, where like chapter one is like emo R&B, and taking in the influences of Jeff Buckley and War on Drugs and people like that, but still within the soul R&B framework, because I think that the root of pretty much everything that I do is rooted in soul music. Um, and then chapter two was kind of the Americana folk. Chapter three was just the egregious '90s R&B, and chapter 4 ahead of us is the Retro Soul, which I'll be releasing shortly. And it the idea at the beginning, at least, was a song a month for the whole year. I had a little bit of a head start, but I wanted to have the deadlines. I wanted to have the pressure. I wanted to see how I kind of operated within it, because I wrote a lot, but not everything was quite at the level that I wanted, and also just because I wanted the 4 chapters, some didn't make the cut on each season and whatnot. But then I had some life changes happen, which took me from Oregon back to Maine, and then some great opportunities to travel the world and play music. And when you're self-producing and writing and doing all that stuff, sometimes things, for lack of a better way of saying it, fall by the wayside. And so I kind of gave myself a little bit of the permission to make sure that it was done right, as opposed to done on a deadline. And so where that is extended in, I think that that's fine. And I think that it's being received well, slowly but surely. And I'm really, really excited to present more of the music ahead.
And I love how you mentioned, that soul kind of foundation is there, because no matter what you're doing, I think it is there as kind of that core.
Do you feel like the lyrics reflect the seasons?
Totally. I mean, when I look at it was not even the intention necessarily, but I think that the lyrical content definitely followed, to a certain degree, autobiographical, and to a certain degree, stories. To a certain degree, I thought they were stories and they became autobiographical, and to certain degrees, I thought they were autobiographical and they became stories. Songs will tell you a lot about yourself. It's a really interesting thing that I've found through writing a lot, is that there are some times when I write a song and I'm convinced that this is just like, you know what, I'm so happy that I just get to like create this little fantastical dream of a situation. And then 6 months later, I was like, oh, that was about me all the time.
It's cheaper than therapy.
I do, yeah, exactly. It's cheap. It's cheaper therapy. I go, shit. I still pay for it and I go for it.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful for it. It's a very constructive way to be able to process. Not everybody is so lucky, and I feel very, very grateful for my time and my ability to spend my time doing it.
Yeah. So is Negroni part of Seasons, or is that something different?
That's part of season 3, or chapter 3. I mean, yeah. So that's the last of the kind of 90s R&B vibe. I have a little bonus track I'm going to put out as well. But that was one of the songs that, like, one thing about the Seasons record that I really like is, like, by having deadlines, I work really well under deadlines, even though I still break them, which, I mean, I did break the deadlines with this, but like, I was about to leave for a month and I really needed to finish a song in order to get it ready for this. And for whatever reason, I made that beat, and I had been listening to a bunch of Mobb Deep and a bunch of Dr. Dre, and I made that beat. And then I had 2 days left before I had to leave, and I had to finish the song to be able to send off to the mixing engineer, because I had already booked her for the time slot. And for whatever reason, I was sipping a Negroni that night and could not get it out of my head. And the whole time I was writing it, I was like, I really need to stop this. This is so ridiculous. I can't write this song right now. And I couldn't stop. And I was just like, I can't stop. I need to stop. I can't stop. I need to stop. And it was just so fun. It's my favorite drink. And plus, like, being able to be playful, especially after writing so many serious songs at the beginning of Seasons, it felt like a release in a whole different way.
In terms of this new year, then, like, is there anything that you've got coming up or teed up, or that you're thinking about, that you would want to share with us?
I mean, it's finishing up the season's record, which is really exciting, and being able to kind of have that have that part complete, which like I've done this basically on my own, which is it's been a hell of an undertaking, especially coming from operating in a world where I had a full team and a band working with me. And so I now talk about the things that we've learned that we want to take with us and maybe the things that we don't. I'm not really going to do it like this again in the future. And I've learned a lot going from it. But being able to finish this out, because I like to finish what I start. And once I put this out, then I'm able to tour around it and being able to get on the road and be able to bring this music to more people in a live space, as well as just continue to create. Like I really have loved releasing a song a month or a song every 2 months, and I kind of don't see that stopping. It might look a little different. I have some ideas about things that I don't think I'm quite at liberty to share yet because they're they're starting, but I don't know the timeline. But it's very exciting.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.